There's a little petrol station about 3 hours north of Victoria, where I live, in a little town called Oxley, which is just north of Glenrowan, which, if you know anything about Australian history, is a place where Ned Kelly did his little run around and steal things with a bucket on his head. What can I say, Australians are built differently. So in this little town, Oxley, there's a tiny petrol station, and on my drive back from a couple of days camping, I drove right past it, jumped out, fired off a couple of frames on my Leica M6 with a 35mm Superchrom, not thinking much about it. Got home, looked at the images, and I was like, that needs to be a pano. So I stuck a pin in it, and it's been sitting in my bookmark list for the last couple of years. So I have the 6-17 now, and going through my list of shots that I want to do that are pano, and the Oxley petrol station came up. So I packed up the car and headed on out to try and shoot it. I did a little bit of digital recce beforehand. I had a look at a sun seeker app, which allowed me to sort of see where the sun's going to be in relation to it. And I'm pretty sure I want to shoot it at dawn or just after dawn. So, but being as how far away it is from where I live, I decided to drive up the day before. Gone and done a quick recce and had a look at it, and I think it's going to work. There are 2 compositions that I want to do. So yeah, that's the plan. But now I just have to wait until tomorrow morning. I thought might as well do a little bit of an update on where I'm at with the Chroma 617 now that I've had it for about 2 months now and put half a dozen rolls of film through it. So I think the first big question that I think a few people had was around the light leaks. The film back I had with the Chroma 617 when it arrived had just ever so slight light leaks on one side. And that was a direct cause of having a film slide, because it's a removable film back, which is the reason why I got the Chroma 617. When I contacted Steve at Chroma, he was great about it. It's like, no, that shouldn't be the case. It immediately shipped out a new film back. In the meantime, I still wanted to use it, so I actually ended up sticking a very thin layer of neoprene at the top, creating a sort of an additional guide or light guide. And then I also 3D printed some little edge guides for the dark side to increase the sort of protection around those areas, which is where the light leaks were happening. And that was really successful. So I shot 2 rolls with that and have had basically no light leaks. The new back has arrived, but because my OCD doesn't like things being uneven, I've put the exact same fix onto the new back, even though it doesn't need it, because that way everything looks the same, which makes me feel better. So I'm going to test out the new back, but what I'm going to actually do is, so that I can test out the new back, but at the same time I'm not risking the shot, I'm actually going to shoot with both Ektar and one in the old film back, which I know works. I'm going to use Ektar 100 on that one. But in the new film back, I'm going to put a last roll of Kodak Gold 200, which is not my favourite stock in the world, but I have a couple left over. So I'm quite happy to sacrifice them. And that really sort of shows one of the benefits of having something like the Chroma 617. You can actually have multiple film backs and have different film loaded in each of them, and then just slot them in like you would with, say, a Hasselblad or a Mamiya. I'm so used to 4:3 and those aspect ratios, of 35mm film and so on, or 6:6 with medium format and so on. But when switching to 6:17, my brain doesn't understand the frame size of lenses anywhere near the way I do with a normal camera. And so I'm finding very hard to visualize shots until I get the camera out. I've been using, there's a image app on my phone for a frame guide app called Magic Viewfinder, because I run Android, so I can't use the multitude of options that are on Apple phones. There's only this one. It's made by a lovely fellow who's actually in the Ukraine. So if you're on Android and you need a viewfinder app, I definitely think you should go and order it, and it's like $7 to buy it. There are free versions, but come on, give the guy a couple of dollars. He's done a good job. It's a useful tool. and hopefully he's safe. So I've been using that a lot to sort of frame up shots, but I think I'm getting the vibe that 135 is a little too tight for me. So I'm looking into a 90mm, but I'm worried that might be a bit too wide. So I'm thinking possibly a 125, maybe getting rid of the 135. I'm not sure quite yet, but I do feel that 135, it's strange. You think panorama is wide. It is, but you also have to think vertically, and it's a very different way of being. So until tomorrow morning, where I have to wake up very early, I think I might go and make some dinner and enjoy the scenery. It's about 5:30 in the morning. Kookaburra's going crazy. Sunrise is a little after 6 and I'm about 10 minutes away from my location. So I'm going to drink this canned coffee, iced vanilla latte, breakfast of champions, and head my way over and see if we can't get a good picture of this gas station. Slept pretty well last night, a couple of mozzies, but had a nice fire and wasn't too cold. Driving in, there was this layer of fog that was just amazing. I had my Leica M6 with a roll of Santacolor 100, stock I haven't used before, but I was pretty happy with the results. I'll definitely be shooting a couple more rolls of this in the future, but I had to crack on and get to my first location as the sun was starting to creep over the horizon. I didn't want to miss what I'd driven all this way to shoot. A couple more shots of Santacolor just before I got to my final location. A little overexposed probably, but still quite like the results. Just very quickly ran off frame each once with Kodak Gold 200 and Ektar 100, just because I wasn't sure if those lights are going to turn out and I didn't want to miss them. And yeah, so now we wait. Brought my M6 along with me, and I'm on a drive in. Managed to take off a few frames. Not sure if there was enough light, but hey, got to say hello to some cows. So here are the two images, one on Ektar, one on Gold 200. And you can see there is a subtle difference in colour, but the main difference is obviously in the grain. So if we switch across to Capture One and just have a look using the loop tool. First on the Ektar, you can just see the fineness of the grain on Ektar is just amazing, especially on these negs. Switch across to the Gold image, and once again, locks in, you can see grain is significantly more noticeable on Gold 200. Still pretty good, but once again, if we switch back to the Ektar, it's just no comparison. Right, let's see. quarter of a second is 16. And she's done. And here we have the final image. Pretty much exactly how I planned it. The colour of the gold of the sun just peeking over the trees. I was very lucky that the lights didn't turn out, so I managed to get the best of both worlds. And here we have the original image I shot, and then the one later in the morning. Not a heck of a lot of difference. You can just see that the sky is just kind of blued up a little bit, and we're getting a bit more gold in the trees on the right hand side. I would have been happy with the first one, but I was extra happy with the second one. I then packed up my kit pretty quickly because I wanted to hurry over and shoot a second composition that I'd seen, hopefully to get there before the sun had risen too much and burned off some of that mist that was pretty much everywhere. Once I got there, I had to move pretty quickly, so I didn't even have a chance to set up my camera to record myself taking a photo. But here's the result. Incredibly happy with this. I love how the sun hitting the tree on the left hand side pretty much makes it look like it's on fire. This was a nice bonus that I wasn't expecting. So that's it. Till the next time, tell your dog I said hi.